I've always thought the characters that were evil for evil's sake were always kind of weak, but when a character has a stronger motivation, it made me much more entitled to, like, love that character. Like, I love Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z because he wasn't just evil, he had pride. He had a deeper meaning into himself, you know? Like, of course he wanted to defeat everything and destroy the Earth, but there was more to it than that. And that's what made him great. And that's why I think this series is awesome, because both of these lead characters have bigger things surrounding them. Hi everyone, it's Chris, and welcome to another anime debate. This week we're gonna go over two shows that don't seem like they'd be similar, but they are. Code Geass versus Death Note. Now, at first glance, if you see either one of these shows compared side by side, you say, okay, why are you comparing these two? They have nothing to do with one another. Until you figure out that each protagonist has the same goals and motivations and goes through the same transformation as the series goes on. The problem is, one of them does it much better than the other. Let's start with Death Note, since everybody pretty much knows the premise of Death Note. So basically, a Grim Reaper drops his book that allows him to kill people. That book has rules. A kid by the name of Light Yagami, Yagami, finds the book and slowly decides that he wants to take over the world. But before that, he has pure intentions and simply wants to get rid of all the world's criminals. That power makes him power hungry, and you get to see his transformation go on throughout the series of the show. He has, however, a rival by the name of L, who's a genius detective that takes him on head to head, and it's an amazing thriller crime mystery. So I'm going to explain Code Geass. It's going to be very difficult, so I'll just tell you this if I can make it a quick rundown. So basically for the show, Lelouch finds out that his father ordered the death of his mother, more or less, and he then takes opposition to the crown, and then he becomes exiled. When he's exiled, he goes down with the people that were pushed out of Japan and turned into these I guess, second-class citizens known as 11s. He then starts working with them and decides he wants to overthrow the government because he thinks the government is evil. So he works underneath the shadows. He develops a alter ego known as Zero once he gets his Geass, which is his ability, which is much akin to the Death Note, which allows him to not only kill people but also influence their thoughts. He also has a sister that he wants to make the world better for. And his entire motivation throughout the entire show is to make the world better for her, because he wants her to live in a better world. Because the world that they currently live in is kind of crappy. And so you see him slowly evolve into this evil person with pure intentions. And so it makes you connect with him a lot easier than you can Light, because one thing I'll say about the entire thing, and I may be jumping ahead, but I'm gonna do it anyway, is that it feels like Lelouch stays consistent throughout the series, and then Light, however, seems to just get really sloppy towards the end, and then just becomes a megalomaniac and wants to just take over everything versus help things like he initially intended. In terms of story, it makes it difficult to make a choice because they are very, very different. Like, Death Note has a much more simplistic story, more straightforward, but also way more engaging. When I watch Death Note, I can't stop watching. With Code Geass, there's all this political exposition and blah, 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 and all these moving parts, and so just a lot to really hold on to. So if you don't have a good attention span, you're not really gonna watch Code Geass with your mouth open oh my god, I must keep watching this. It's a good show, and it's a great story, but it's just not as compelling. But it is, however, much more layered and much more consistent. It doesn't get sloppy along the way. So for that reason, I'm gonna say that Code Geass has a better story, but Death Note is much more engaging. Animation, hands down, Death Note, because, okay, how do I put this? Death Note has a much more realistic tone, and it's much more, it fits more of the theme of the thriller aspect of it. You watch it, it's like if you watch it in the dark, you're gonna be a little bit afraid. They keep this very, very autonomous tone, especially when the eyes are glowing red, or there's some kind of death gonna happen. You really get intrigued by it. To be honest, the animation in Code Geass is good, but it's very typical anime. If you see it, you go, okay, that's an anime. It's nothing really special about it. I mean, heck, they have mechs in the show. It doesn't really stand out. So for that reason alone, Death Note gets the win. Music. All right, now this is a big one. So Death Note seems to carry along the same themes throughout the show, but they're memorable things. They're things that you will always remember. They will stick with you forever. They are very strong. They are awesome. There's like this orchestral sound whenever Light starts to like come into fruition with his plans, like oh, which hilariously enough, in some moments during Code Geass, they do the same thing, but it jumps around between like, you know, that kind of music and then like really peppy stuff, because the show also takes moments for comedy. It also takes moments for like lighter hearted moments. It takes moments for just not as like as intense moments. So it's more varied. But it's also forgettable. So for that reason, I'm gonna give the win for music to Death Note. Characters. Now this one is again very hard because I feel like there's a lot of characters in Code Geass. Code Geass has a bajillion people. I don't even know who they all are, to be honest with you. It kind of got lost as it keeps going on. He has his like half sister. He has his half brother. He has his best friend. He has his full sister, I guess. He has the different people who also get Geass throughout the series. It's all this stuff. And he had the girl that gave him the Geass, and it's just like, oh my gosh. Okay, does anybody really stand out? Yes and no. There's these annoying characters who are on the student council with him. There's like, I don't know. Like, I just don't really get into any of the side characters that much. But Lelouch himself is an engaging character, and I love him, and I love seeing him develop. I love seeing him grow, and I feel like that's one thing they handle much better than Death Note is the main character development. That main character freaking pushed it to the limits, and you were like, oh my gosh, dude, I want to be you. Oh my gosh, dude, you are amazing. Like, and then again, like I keep saying this, but like he never got sloppy. Light, I'll say it again. Light got sloppy. Light got cocky. His plan wasn't fleshed out towards the end. He was always thinking ahead of people, but it just felt very like, I don't know, like he got like too comfortable in his position, which could happen, which is a little bit more realistic, I guess. But I just feel like Lelouch was a stronger character. But as the side characters go, they didn't really like pull you in the way they do on Death Note. Whereas on Death Note, I feel like every B-roll character, be it like his like Light's dad, be it I forget his name right now, but the junior detective, or not detective, not junior, but he's the youngest detective that likes Light's sister. He's even like really engaging. L still the show, period. L is like one of the greatest characters in anime history, period. Like, you can't beat L. L is just so awesome. And Light himself is also equally as awesome, although again, this is just not a very consistent character. I like Light a lot, but as he turns evil, you start to you're like, oh, okay, man, wow, you lost it, okay, man. Like, you don't stay with him. You don't really feel as in tune with him. But the fact is, though, is that's because he has lost it. He has the power go to his head. He has lost his way. His original intention in the entire show, and initially, was just to rid the world of evil. But then it becomes, no, I can take it over and I can change it, which he has in common with Lelouch, or so we think. So, I don't know, for multiple reasons, I'm going to say Lelouch is a better character. I'm going to say that Light pales in comparison to him. But I will also say that Death Note has better B-roll characters, side players, if you will. And so I'm going to say as a cast, as a whole, it has to go to Death Note. But it's not to take anything away from Code Geass, because it has a lot of characters, just a lot to balance, and it's really hard to focus on anybody in particular. Like Misa Amani, cool character, right? Really cool. She gets like really deep in there. You get to see how much her love for Light carries throughout the show and all that stuff like that. And then you have the alternative to that over on Code Geass' side, and it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't really, you don't really care that much. So overall, going head to head, you compare these two series, which one is better, Code Geass or Death Note? I'm going to tell you this, they're both amazing shows. You should watch both of them for sure. Death Note has been standing as my favorite anime for literally years. Whenever anybody asks me what my favorite anime is, I always say Death Note. But now that I've seen Code Geass, I don't know how I feel anymore. It makes it difficult because Code Geass has a very similar plot thread weaving throughout the entire thing. The thing that really pulled me into the show was seeing Light / Kira go head to head with his adversary. But then in the second half of the series, that adversary isn't as cool. I'm not gonna spoil anything for you guys. It's just not, it's not the same. And then I got less engaged towards the end of it. Whereas with Code Geass, I became more engaged with the second half of it, and I was like, holy crap, man, this is awesome. This is great. It's a lot to stick with, but if you stick with it, it pays off in the end. As an overall written series, overall engaging series, which I'm a person who loves engaging things, like things that like keep me staring at. Like I watched Lost for the entire, I think, 6 seasons, and until that last season, I was hooked, and I still regard it as a great show because it was that engaging. Code Geass is not as engaging, but it is much more rewarding. So for that reason, I'm gonna give it a draw. I know I'm copping out here, guys, but these shows are so freaking different despite their similar themes. Both are worth your time. Both are amazing. But I just don't know that I can pick one over the other. They're both worth your time. I'm telling you that now. But I will tell you this, that if you watch Code Geass, you'll be much more satisfied by the end. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's anime debate. If you want to see another show debated, let me know what it is down below. Also, how you feel about Code Geass? How you feel about Death Note? Let's get into it after you teleport.